as it's chicken and the egg kind of thing, because as millions of people joined, it became about following your interests and figuring out, realizing that you could follow your friends, you could follow your family, you could follow what breaking news is happening around the world, and it became, that sort of thing. And that's what it is today, and that's how most people, I think, are accessing Twitter.
What I like about it, compared to something like Facebook, for example, is if you allow people to become a friend on Facebook, they can keep bothering you whenever they want, and you can't stop them, and they know when you're not replying.
Yeah.
On Twitter, because of the sheer volume of people that comment and pass messages, you're under no compulsion to kind of respond to anybody, and that takes away a lot of the pressure of these enforced friends or followers.
Right.
Was that part of the thinking?
So it's always been focused on the recipient, and so you can write something and it goes out to the world, and people choose to follow it or not. And like Biz said, they follow their interests, they follow what they're passionate about, and then they talk about it on the service with their friends. So we have this information network constantly pushing out what's most meaningful and what's most important, and then a number of people discussing it over the service in real time.
I want to remind people, everyone watching, they can keep tweeting now. They can tweet at Piers Morgan and get my follower count up. Certainly leave your two, you've got millions already. The audience can all be tweeting. I've got my BlackBerry. I'm going to be tweeting. More importantly, let's turn to you, Nick Kristof, senior writer on the New York Times, top foreign correspondent. I follow your tweets on Twitter, and I'm getting your information that I would have had to wait for perhaps on the newspaper the next day in real time, often as you are seeing it firsthand. How dramatically has this changed your working practice?
Well, it means that, for example, in Egypt, so when I go to Tahrir Square, as I did during the protest, and I see a thug sent by Mubarak, one of these plainclothes policemen, carrying this big club with nails embedded in it, then I don't wait to see what happens. I don't wait until my next column. I just tweet, Mubarak's thugs out here holding clubs with nails, and better look out.
Which is amazingly powerful, first-hand, immediate testimony, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. And then, you can likewise take a picture of the person and then TwitPic it. And so then there's a photo of that person going out. And it enormously raises the cost of repression for regimes when you have, it holds people accountable. It holds dictators accountable. And one reason we're not seeing more atrocities right now in the Middle East, frankly, is that everybody knows that, there are people tweeting, there are people taking photos, and the word is getting out.
So it's all public now. So the old days when you could have a dictator suppressing his people quite happily, having got rid of all the journalists in a brutal way, it's all over because the people all have mobile phones, they all have laptops and so on. Again, I come back to you guys about the original premise for Twitter. What was it? When you sat down and who came up with the name?
Whose idea was it? That was one of our coworkers, Noah Glass, and he found it in the dictionary.
Yeah.
And it means a short, inconsequential burst of information or chirps from birds.
Yeah. But this is very interesting, you see. So the original premise was based around a short, inconsequential chirping from birds, which implies gossip, meaningless stuff, the kind of stuff I thought it was all about. When you hear what Nick Kristof just said, it's a completely different medium now. He's talking about exposing brutality by oppressive regimes in real time. And it seems to me that although you may have got used to that idea, at the time you invented Twitter, you could never have imagined that, could you?
No, and that's the amazing thing about it. It's a true utility that scales to whatever the users want to do with it. I actually update about what I'm having for breakfast because, 99.9999% of the world doesn't care, but my mom loves it. And she also loves when I say that I'm in a new city and she follows me around. So it's very useful for her. But then it can scale to a completely different context, a completely different part of the world, and to completely different topics.
I had a great moment on Saturday when I was having a dispute with a camera store over being ripped off over a purchase of a camera. So I decided to enlist some help on Twitter from Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson. And I tweeted them both, and they both responded immediately. Mike Tyson was in London, Lennox in Jamaica, offering their services should things turn ugly in the camera store. I had a full refund within 1 hour. That was the power of Twitter. Nick, before you go, where do you think this will all end up for the media here? Because it seems to me, I used to run newspapers in Britain for a long time, and if I'd seen an invention like Twitter, I would be excited by what it could bring to the media, but also slightly apprehensive that newspapers in their current form are going to pretty quickly become redundant, aren't they? Because everyone will get information in real time.
say it ain't so. No, and I don't think it is. I mean, I think that, though, my job as an op-ed columnist will be profoundly changed. Right now, essentially, my formal day job is producing 2 columns a week. I think that probably 15 years from now, 20 years from now, essentially, my job will be to churn out opinions, and I'll do that through some combination of tweets, Facebook posts, blogs, short commentaries that I'm updating all the time, of YouTube videos. I think it'll be an entirely different version with different platforms, different media, but the essential job of pontificating, if you will be, pretty recognizably similar.
Final question. Who do you tell first when you have a juicy bit of information? Your bosses or Twitter?
Well, actually, that has come up a few times when I'm in some very dicey position and I tweet, and then my wife later says, I don't want to find out about these things on Twitter. I was once in a plane crash in Congo, and fortunately that was before Twitter. But, I hate to think that, next time my plane is crashing, I'd want to, I think, call my wife before I tweeted that.
Nick Christophe, thank you very much. If you gentlemen stay with me, we're going to bring in somebody who's really harnessed the power of Twitter, Martha Stewart.